Alright. Okay, I got all the buttons pressed correctly. I was afraid I had done something wrong there, but this is game number 4, boys and girls, and this is getting really scary for Team Liquid. We'll talk about the scores and the systems and such in a moment. For now, though, spawning in the lower right corner of Frost, it's going to be the Red Terran player from Team Liquid, Liquid's Bunny. His TVZ is amazing. We'll see how his TVP is. Spawning in the upper right, though, out of EG, Evil Geniuses, JYP, or Egypt. He's from Egypt. His Korean players kicking a lot of ass today. I think a lot of people really underestimated JYP. I underestimated JYP just in game number 1. Seeing his presence up against Tasia, I'm like, okay, JYP, what a cute pick. But he's taking out 3 of the big names from Team Liquid. Bunny's one of the most recent additions to the team, and he's not a bad player. He's pretty good. But I don't know if he's going to be able to deal with this brand new JYP that we're all witnessing. No, it's a best of 9 between these two teams, between Evil Geniuses and Team Liquid. It's currently 3-0 in the favor of Evil Geniuses. So Team Liquid is not quite on match point yet. They've got a couple games in them still. But Bunny's got to start turning this around, because nobody likes being down 4-0 in a series and having to come back from that. Now, Bunny versus JYP, unlike Yansu, this is a map where, yes, there's still going to be the threat of Blink. But Frost, I feel, is not nearly as bad to deal with, especially if you see it coming. I don't necessarily know if JYP is going to go for the same strategy or not, but we'll see what he ends up doing. A lot of this, I think, is going to be dictated. When you see TVP, so much of this is dictated by the Protoss player as far as builds go, but the actions are dictated by the Terran player. And that sounds so silly to say, but that's just kind of the basic of TVP. Like, as a Terran player, you're not exactly able to quick tech to ghosts and hope to win, because what if your opponent opens with a Colossus? Auto lose. GG, have fun. Well, maybe not auto lose, but still, it's going to be a rough time. Meanwhile, as a Protoss player, you're the one forcing the Terran player to scout relentlessly. There's no Terran player in this game that will prefer playing blind versus Protoss. So we're going to have the Reaper come out, we got the SCV already looking to scout, and it's really critical to identify tech paths early on. Whether it's going to be a Twilight Council, whether it's going to be a faster Robo, or hell, even a Stargate opener. Because you have to make sure you got your ass covered versus Blink, versus Oracles, versus an early Colossus, an Immortal push to bust bunkers, or something really silly like a Warp Prism. Regardless, that's the role of the Terran player. You have to scout and identify what goes on. Now, what I mean by dictating the actions, of course, you know, it's going to be Bunny who decides whether he drops, whether he invests in spider mines, whether he tries to contain, whether he's the one who, like, after scouting, reacts in what way. And that's what I really like about the matchup, because if it was any other way, I honestly wouldn't love watching it as much as I do. But for now, we do have Bunny trying to stutter step around the Zealots. Should be able to kill this with our LTVs. The really nice advantage of going for this will shut down the early Zealot poke. So many times in TVP, you'll have a Protoss player send out a Zealot, send out a Stalker, and send out a Mothership Core across the map, and it's meant to kill quite a bit. But because he goes for the Reaper, this Zealot is absolutely nothing. Nice kill out of Bunny.
First blood.
Doesn't even take a scratch on that Reaper. But as the Mothership Core comes out a little bit to poke, it will make sure to guard against the Reaper. Frost looks like there's a lot of places you can jump up to the main, but it's limited to here and over by the ramp. So there's not a whole lot of spaces this Reaper can get in, and I think JYP knows this, so he's kind of patrolling between the two right now, making sure to keep an eye on things. But okay, Reaper going to get up around the Mothership Core. Its speed will be its greatest asset. Pylon, in the meantime, in place way over yonder. He does know where the main of Bunny is. He scouted this very early with a probe, so if this is going to be a Stargate, this is the weirdest place to proxy a Stargate. I think this is just going to be a warp in. No. Oh! Okay. This makes a little bit more sense. He's hiding tech, and he's hiding tech in a really clever manner. So what I was going to say a moment ago is if he was going to build a Stargate over there, he might as well put it in the main, because it makes it just as safe. And you can still, the rush distance is about the same, let's be honest, from here to here, as it is from here to here. But what I think is going to end up happening is if this isn't Blink, I'm pretty sure this is going to be Blink. I don't think this will be Dark Templar. My mind will be blown if this is a Dark Templar opener, I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm pretty sure this is going to be Blink, and he just wants to make sure that Bunny's not going to scout it. He knows there'll be a scan potentially. He knows there's Reapers about. He knows that there's a chance this gets scouted. So if he keeps it in his main, he gives away his strategy. Whereas right now, if Bunny comes back, what does Bunny see? 3 gateways? That's it? This just looks like gateway aggression. But okay, my mind is blown. It's going to be a Dark Shrine, and it is going to get scouted in the main by the Reaper. Really critical that Bunny saw that. So I hope he clicked on it, because sometimes this can look like a pylon to a player not paying attention. But the Dark Shrine... The revelation of the Dark Shrine is going to be huge. He shoots the detection down. We don't see him canceling and going for a faster Blink. But JYP, I think, was really banking on, with his Stalker and the Mothership Core, the ability to pick off that Reaper before the Dark Shrine would be seen. So perhaps a little bit cocky, but caught a little bit off guard. The Robo facility is certainly going to be for a Warp Prism, I would imagine, before anything else. But to go for a Dark Templar early and have someone scout it, there's no way Bunny should falter to this. He's going to need to check out for this pylon, though, that's coming. JYP is very bold with this pylons, if I do say, especially after watching that Snoot series. But he'll be able to drive off the Stalkers for now. He's got an Engineering Bay finishing up, so he'll get some turrets down too. And let's not forget, he's always got the option of scans. But right now, he's not saving energy. He knows there's still going to be a clock where there's about, I don't know, 30 seconds before Dark Templar are realistically out. Focusing on the pylon, should be able to kill this too before Warpins come in, so really nice in that regard. But the Warp Prism will make up that difference, as predicted, will come out first. Yep, turrets coming down. Not even going to need to burn scans. Bunny even throwing down another bunker to be safe. Worried a little bit about the potential blink. I love that this is on his mind. That the thought is, perhaps my opponent canceled the Dark Shrine and instead went for blink after me scouting it. So he's got all his bases covered. He's got turret down. He's got bunkers coming down to locations to defend against blink. He doesn't have a turret in the main though, so he may just think it's going to be an observer on the front lines. I mean, this Dark Templar is going to get thwarted. Yeah, get out of here. Turn around. Go on, get. But where's that Warp Prism? Now coming across the map. It can lift some units up here too. Oh, the Marine's going to scout this. So this is a huge catch out of Bunny. To see the Warp Prism is critical. Immediately we see a turret coming down the main because he knows there's the potential of a Dark Templar now being either warped in or dropped into the main. Oh, that Marine is so big. He cancels the bunker because he knows that's going to be the case too. He just wants to get the minerals for extra production. Dark Templar gets unloaded. Will he see this? He can scan. He can scan. Not wanting to waste it though. 2 Dark Templar inside this 1 Warp Prism. So far, 1 worker killed. Nothing too crazy. That's what I like about TVP as well. It tends to be one or the other. You don't see a lot of both. Where either you see a lot of aggression towards worker lines, like Terran players dropping, or storms going off, or Zealots being warped into the main. But oh no! Speaking of, oh no, his army. Bunny just brought his whole army out of the base. 1 Dark Templar gets unloaded, and it's going to start killing some SCVs. These need to back away as they will get one-shot by that Dark Templar, but lifting up to get out of there, Bunny says, alright, you know what? If you're going to invest in harassing me, I'll just go for a big push. And maybe, just maybe, you can't defend against it because you've invested so much on my half of the map. Which is not the case, unfortunately. There's some pylons down there, but it's not that big of a deal. Force fields go down, completely locking him out of this. Now you might wonder, why didn't he try and catch this and split the army? But it's because he doesn't have a big army himself. He can't really fight Bunny head on. So Bunny going to tear down the rocks. He's got no medevacs for this, so anytime he stims, it's actually incredibly dangerous. Overcharge will go down pretty much on the Nexus immediately. Is he just going to focus it down, though? Looks like he is going to focus it for a little bit. Archon gets taken out immediately. Probes have been pulled into this. Bunny's pushing force looks somewhat unstoppable, and the Nexus from JYP is going to go down. Losing the national base is a great advantage here for Bunny as he moves forward in the game. Takes out the Zealots, takes out the probes. This might even be GG. The Colossus does come, though, so I hold that thought. Actually, he should be able to hold on to this. If he had more Marauders in this army, it would be different. He could focus down the Colossus, but unfortunately, with only 2 Marauders, doesn't quite have the firepower for it. In the meantime, total of 16 workers dead so far. Not a bad start here for Bunny, though. What could have been much worse, if those Dark Templar had remained in his natural base. If JYP had any way of predicting that Bunny had nothing at home because he had pulled it completely across the map, JYP could have routed and destroyed this mineral line. A little unfortunate for him in that regard, but 3 Zealots heading towards the main, and let's be honest guys, sometimes Zealots can be a lot better than Dark Templar simply because they're so difficult to kill. Dark Templar, yeah, you need to scan for them, but they go down pretty quick in comparison. So goes on and gets on out of there. We do have medevacs finally out too, and some Vikings have been made as well, because you saw the Colossus. Man, if that Colossus had not spawned, guys, if that had been slightly different, JYP would have been completely out of this game, I think, but Bunny, man, what a great start he's got here. Now, there is +1 armor. Sorry, funny enough, I hiccup there. There is +1 armor finished up for JYP. And we all know how good armor is versus Terran. It doesn't matter whether you've got weapon upgrades or not, sometimes it feels. The Terran player fighting against armored up charge lots is not going to have a good time. But it's not armored up charge lots, it's mostly armored up Colossus he's going to have to worry about. And the Vikings should be able to deal with this regardless. So 2 Colossus out right now. Extended Thermal Lance is in fact finished. Combat shields and all the good check marks for a Terran player to have right now. Would like to see him get towards +2 weapons. The armor is just finishing up now, so he's going to have to wait a little bit for that. I'm kind of surprised we don't see Bunny pressing the issue right now, though. And I'm not even talking like a big push across the map. I'm surprised we don't see him dropping, trying to harass. Knowing the fact that he tore that Nexus down really bought him a lot of time. And I'm going to sneeze, 1 sec. Oh my goodness, sorry about that, guys. It's getting to be summertime. Nice little segment of the forces forward. Him stimming about 3 Marauders and 4 Marines ahead of the rest of the pack was very critical because it allows him to get over there before force fields go down, before he loses half of his army to the force fields instead. And as we saw, it was enough to drive JYP back a little bit, but still JYP, he's got an observer here, he's got a pylon down here. He's situated in a nice way to perform a counterattack if he needs to. So let's say Bunny's across the map and JYP's holding around the natural or something. It's going to be very easy for him to just warp in 7 Zealots and walk into Bunny's natural. But third base for Bunny's been established. JYP also on his way to a third. And this isn't normally a scenario where if he had been able to retain his forces from that first push and even the littlest bit, I think Bunny would have already won this game. But just like all matches in StarCraft 2, the longer you give someone to recover, the harder it comes to win. And that's kind of the case here. But Bunny's got a bit going for him. Stalkers in the middle of the map. Charge lots on the way, but those are going to be quite a bit of time off. Again, that's such an odd Twilight Council placement, but it works out really nicely for him. Army supply is pretty big for Bunny, though. I'll give him that much. He's got a lot of Vikings in this. He should be able to deal with this. He's going to push against JYP right now. JYP... His Colossus aren't with the Stalkers. He's got no coverage for this. His army has to fight together. If he splits up in the slightest, he's dead. Bunny's got 9 Vikings. 9 Vikings, guys. He's going to be able to deal with these Colossus relatively easily. And 20 Marauders on top of this. Bunny's got such a good army. He would have to take a terrible position to lose a fight right now. But let's not forget, charge is on the way. If he waits too long, if he allows +1 and charge to finish, Bunny's not going to be able to do anything. And he's backing away. Why is he backing away? Did he scan something I missed?
Ready to plunder.
He scans the third. He knows it's there. Why is he not pursuing this? Now, okay, he grabs... Whoa, okay. Grabs his SCVs. Bunny... why? You don't need to all in with... You've got such a nice looking army. But he's going to pull the workers with this. And he has to win with this push now. This no longer becomes an issue of trading with a superior army to that of Colossus, but to him having the SCVs on the front line to tank these hits, to soak the Colossus beam so the Marauders don't have to. But trapped in a time warp, this is looking pretty bad. Vikings are going to pursue this forward. One of the Colossus goes down immediately, but the time warp combined with the force fields are segmenting off this army from using the SCVs as an advantage. As the SCVs are being whittled out, the army loses that distinct advantage. Now there's 3 Colossus and 1 Mothership Core. No overcharge available. Bunny still has a really scary army. It's 114 to 60. Pushing it here in a big way. More force fields go down. The force fields are looking really good as they keep the army back once again. The Stalkers pick off the Vikings, and now there's nothing left to free kill the Colossus. The army decides to try and focus on the Nexus because it's all that's in range. The Colossus backing away from this, but the Marines are being absolutely massacred. And Bunny either has to kill the army right now or go towards the third. He's lost so many workers. Upwards of 50 between both of these players. 60 even. And Bunny backs away from this with a lot of Marauders. Was that just the biggest throw of all time? Is that what just happened? Why did he pull his SCVs? I don't like that he pulled his SCVs in the first place. If you pull your SCVs, like every Terran player has done this at some point, whether you're a Bronze League Terran, whether you're a Grandmaster Terran, or whether you're freaking Liquid Bunny, you pull SCVs versus Colossus because it's meant to soak the hits. But what JYP did that was so perfect had nothing to do with the Colossus or even the Stalkers. It was his sentries that just won him that fight. The force fields keeping the army back meant that the SCVs were dying for nothing. They literally died for nothing. Now pushing into the third, he's going to try and talk down this Nexus, but guys, at this point, his army supply is barely even. And that's not going to cut it. His worker count's down to 24. And we all love mules, sure. But mules will only get you so far. We do have an attack running into the natural. JYP is only on 1 base right now. I would like to note that. But still, economically speaking, Bunny is going to be behind. It's 58 workers to 27. All he has to do is establish 1 new Nexus. And he's good to go. We're pushing around. If he had more medevacs too, this might be a different story, because right now, these medevacs have no energy. He can't heal the stimmed up units he currently has. There's some idle Vikings and some idle Marauders. He really needs to collect his whole army. Needs to split this too. Coming up against this Colossus force, Stalkers could blink forward. We'll focus down the medevacs. Bunny gonna take another good fight here. We'll take out most of the Stalkers right away, but the Colossus are still unanswered, and there's just simply not enough Marauders. There's no Vikings on this half of the map. He's gonna lose everything here. Last couple of Marauders go down. The medevacs are trying to boost away, but they've got combination no health and no energy. Back at home, the big warping comes over here. 4 Stalkers and 1 Dark Templar. There's a turret here, but there's no way to respond to this. There's 4 Vikings available on the map, but what he really needs more than Vikings right now are, quite frankly, medevacs. Neither of these are going to work complementary to one another, and this base is going to fall. Oh my god. Well, we've all been there at some point, guys. Us Terrans have thrown games that we've won, and we all know this feeling. But Bunny cannot be happy about that. Again, that SCV pull was so, I feel, unnecessary. I really think he could have taken the same fight, gotten the same results without having pulled those SCVs. But the Colossus is actually getting focused down here. The Vikings are getting a little bit of work done, but the Zealots are the real issue. The Marauders can deal with the Stalkers. The Marauders can even deal with the Colossus to an extent. But there's no real DPS for the Archon, and there's no DPS to deal with the Zealots. He needs more Marines, but if he invests in more Marines, he dies to the Colossus. There's no good way out of this for Bunny. Now JYP is starting to move forward into the production line, and once you're in the production line of a Terran player, there's almost no recovery. So a big attack out of Bunny is going to be his last attempt to win this game. A last huzzah, if you will. He's lifting barracks and floating them away. This is the definition of stubborn. But oh no, the Dark Templar are going to kill these units! Goes for another Nexus Snipe, pulting it up pretty hard right now, but there's no way to deal with these Dark Templars. They swipe away at the Marines, they swipe away at the Marauders. He knocks down the Nexus, but to what avail? He saves 3 Marauders and 2 Marines. And he's got no answer for the Dark Templar. If he can knock down this other Nexus, maybe he feels a little bit differently about this game, but he's lost everything at home. Vikings are non-existent. There's no answer to the Colossus. Good game is going to be called. JYP, ladies and gentlemen, takes the game over Liquid Bunny. That puts Team Liquid now on their last life, their last legs. How many workers killed in total? Way over the limit we set for that bet, guys. So almost 100 workers killed between the two players.